Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. In reality, I've come to the conclusion that this Austin Model Y that we've seen is possibly just a red herring. It would seem that Tesla don't want to give out the secret sauce just yet, and don't want everyone to know that they can reach, say, 420 miles on just a 69 kilowatt-hour battery. I'm not sure why it's such a big deal if people find out early. I mean, the competition aren't going to manage even this decade. Is it just that Elon would rather tell us in his own way and not distract everyone from the festivities at Cyber Rodeo, as it would no doubt take the limelight? So as a result, a lot of us were confused about this new Austin Model Y. I'm glad to see it's not just me that it's driving crazy, but it may very well all be a distraction. Perhaps some misdirection from the master illusionist Elon Musk. Tesla had to open Giga Texas. They needed to show Texas was manufacturing vehicles, or else what would be the point of it? I can speculate on and on about what this vehicle might be, but at the end of the day, seeing and witnessing is believing. Just look at the new battery pack. Compared to that, what now appears to be a hideous tray of 2170 batteries, Tesla pulled it off. They made this structural battery pack. We can even see them being made in Texas. They did it. Therefore, the most logical explanation is that these EPA figures are incorrect, and it sounds like they've done a lot of copying and pasting from previous versions, hence why they match the 2170 specifications so close. And Tesla simply don't want to give out the 4680 specs yet. I mean, was it really that likely that the reveal of a milestone as major as this would be left for the EPA? No, these 4680 specs are a huge deal and should be a needle mover of the stock price. It's when we discover just how far ahead Tesla really is and just how truly amazing EVs really can be. But it's all a distraction. We know these structural battery pack 4680 cars are phenomenal. We were shown the actual data on battery day. I mean, just look at the size difference in battery packs. It is mind-blowing. They did it, and I'm sure we'll get the real specifications all in good time, when Elon and Tesla are ready to stun the world with just how good their engineering really is. Until then, Elon didn't want to spill the beans. There are no clues around as to work out the specifications of the 4680 vehicles. Tesla have done an exceptional job covering that up. So why are we dismissing this vehicle? Why is it just a distraction as to what is really happening here? Because we know Tesla can make vehicles. We know they can make them faster than anyone else. We know they can make EVs at a lower cost than anyone else. And if you've ever driven one, then you know how well they make EVs, panel gaps aside. So if the vehicle is a distraction, then what really matters? Well, I know there was a really big party with fireworks and drones, and it suddenly got a lot of people's attention, but Tesla also released a lot of new footage from the factory. Aside from it looking like a state-of-the-art production facility, we got to see more 4680 cells on the production line. But not just any production line, it was the new Texas line. We are witnessing 4680 cells being produced on this new, what Elon calls, largest battery factory on the planet. I think the current largest battery factory is the new CATL Shanghai facility up the road from Giga Shanghai at around 80 gigawatt hours a year. I would guess that Texas has an output of probably 3 times that, at least. Now this is what's really important. Even if the specs were as bad as the EPA report suggested, people are still going to buy this car if Tesla can make them. But Tesla's ability to make them is dependent on this battery factory. So that's what really matters. Yes, the specs fascinate the engineering side of me, but the numbers of batteries being produced fascinates the shareholder in me more. Now this production line on battery day was called a high-speed continuous motion assembly. Therefore, if we can clock the rate at which we see the cells moving, then that could be some kind of indication as to how fast Tesla are making batteries already. Of course, this production line may not be ramped up to full speed, and there is also downtime, and we don't even know how many production lines there even are. I know people are concerned about supply chains and minerals, but this is the basic element coming from a mine. It's a pretty direct supply chain, and very few other third parties involved in the process. Remember, raw materials in, finished product out. We also don't know what level of yields they're generating here. It could take a while, but this is what we'll be keeping a close eye on over time. At the start of the recent battery assembly line video, we can see a batch of 64 cells, 8 rows of columns of 8. Assuming the speed of this video is in real time, then I clock those 64 cells being sent out and replaced within about 6 seconds. So roughly at the speed of 10 cells a second. The video of course won't show us a full cycle, but just about. On top of that, there are 2 machines there and we're only seeing one of them working right now, which could mean they could potentially reach 20 cells a second there. In another segment, we see 8 cells go from the same stage in 2.05 seconds, or basically 4 cells a second. However, the same process is happening on 2 sides, so that might actually be 8 cells a second. In the next scene of the video, I think I counted 14 cells going through the same place in 1.4 seconds, which is also 10 cells a second. And then possibly 10 seconds for the robot to lower the cells into the pack in a full cycle. I am guessing some of it as we didn't see a full cycle, but there are 207 cells in that array, which would put us at an average of 20 cells a second. However, this is when the cells meet the pack. We can't assume the production lines are at the same speed here. We were also given a cell manufacturing video too. In one scene, we can see the empty cans go around a carousel, and 8 cells pass the same place in 2.5 seconds. That would be 3.2 cells a second. However, it appears that there could be multiple carousels. In another scene, we are shown the jelly roll being wrapped with the tabless connector. Now, this takes 3.7 seconds just to wrap one battery. However, previously we were also shown that the jelly roll has 8 rows, and considering they are continuous, it would imply that each of those rows would individually wrap the cells, which would mean therefore it would be closer to 2.1 cells a second. Also, we don't know how many lines there are doing this process. Next, we see the top of the cells being added, and we get to see a full cycle. It takes 2 seconds per cell. Then we see the jelly roll being inserted into the can, and this takes a full 3 seconds per cell. However, we get a close-up of one happening. We don't know how many are simultaneously occurring. Next, we see the plungers, and it lasts 3 seconds, and we just about get to see a full cycle. These are in batches of 12. There are 6 cells at the front and 6 more behind in a second row. 12 cells every 3 seconds is 4 cells a second. We then see the cells moving along the line again, and I count 7 cells moving by the same point in just under 2 seconds, so around 4 cells a second. On another carousel, I count 5 cells moving in 3.5 seconds, so almost 1.5 cells a second. Again, we have no idea how many of these carousels there are. In another video, we see 8 cells moving along the line over 2.5 seconds, which is 3.2 cells a second. And in the last scene, I count between 24 and 28 cells, which is about 2.2 seconds long, which would equate to around 11 to 13 cells a second. Alright, so that is quite an array of production speeds. It can be hard to calculate what the true speed of that line is. However, in those scenes where we see mass amounts of cells going through the production line continuously, there doesn't appear to be any gaps or breaks or slowing down. So in my opinion, that would be the most likely speed of these production lines, perhaps around 8 to 10 cells a second. Either way, I have created a table to represent what some of these speeds mean. We were told on battery day that each battery production line should be capable of 20 gigawatt hours a year. The closest speed that resembles that is around 8 cells a second. When you then factor in the number of cells per vehicle at 828, then it comes in at just under 20,000 vehicles a month when you adjust for yields and downtime, or pretty much enough cells to hit volume production for the Model Y. Of course, we do not know how many battery lines are running either, or will be running in Texas. It is presumably a lot more than Cato Road, given the massive difference in size. The battery line is taking up a large part of the floor in Texas. It is enormous. Anyway, if Tesla are already close to producing enough cells for 20,000 4680 Model Ys, presumably long range too, then that is a very good start to the opening. I mean, this is a massive state-of-the-art factory. Tesla have a massive backorder of Model Ys. They are not messing around. They've been testing these 4680 lines for some time now, and I know there's a massive discrepancy between only producing 1 million cells in January from a facility that's been running for around 2 years to one that has been up barely a month and already presumably hitting 20 times as many. But that was the point of this factory. This cell ramp is the most crucial thing for Tesla. Every bit of data in understanding the progress of this is vital, much more important than FSD or bots, as without scaling batteries to a massive level, then we don't have the insane future we hope for Tesla. 20 million vehicles a year, energy and everything else. It all goes back to batteries. And these batteries in particular, not CATL's LFP, that is not the saviour that people think. The 4680 is a much bigger deal, as they can be produced probably more than 10 times faster than any other battery anyone else can produce. I don't know how much we can really read into this, as we did also see the Cato Road facility produce at a similar rate 1.5 years ago. I guess we'll see what other information we get soon too. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.